Hi, I'm Chris and welcome to another video. And today we're going to be talking about heart rate and how your heart rate is key to your running journey and hopefully keep you injury free. But please stay tuned to the end because I've got 3 tips on how to make this more accurate. What is your heart rate telling you? So if your heart rate, say for instance, you go on one run one day and then the next day you go on the same run and your heart rate's obviously elevated a lot higher. What that's telling you is that you could be fatigued, you could be overtraining, you could be stressed, you could be not getting enough sleep, it could be illness. So that is giving you some valuable information. And the reason I'm making this video is because this month I went out on a half marathon and it was a tempo run. And so a tempo run, normally my heart rate is at 155-ish beats per minute. And on that run, on the half marathon, I was running at 6:43 mile pace or 4:10 per kilometre. And my average heart rate was 154, which as I mentioned before, that's my tempo heart rate. And then the other day, I went on a 10k run and my average pace was 5:56 or 4:18 per kilometre, which is slower, but my heart rate was at 155. So although that was a slower pace for me, and probably what we're saying 13 seconds off per mile or 8 seconds off per kilometre, my heart rate was exactly the same. So last week I took 4 days off because I thought to myself, okay, maybe I'm overtraining because I'd done 3 50-mile weeks the day before. Not the day before, the weeks before, because the day before would be, that's a lot of miles in that day. So what that's actually telling me is that, as I say, I took time off, come back this week, and my heart rate's still elevated, my legs were still aching, which suggests to me that I probably got an illness. I might not be showing, major signs, but it means that I need to keep an eye on my training. So I take more time off or run easier. So that's why it's important, because if I was to carry on training at that level, one, I'm probably going to get fatigued, then I'm going to start overtraining, and then when you're fatigued, obviously injuries come knocking on your door. So how do you work out your easy pace, your threshold pace, and your tempo pace, say for instance, and then kind of link that to your heart rate? Well, we're all different, and a lot of these formulas are based on averages. So as you know, I like to keep it nice and simple for you guys. So let's just break down the kind of easy, the tempo and the threshold. So as I said before, it gets a bit confusing when you look at all these formulas. We've all run probably a park run, we've run a 5k, and we've probably got a PB. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that data, and then I'm going to give you what to add on to that data so we can work out what your kind of your easy, your tempo and your threshold heart rate should be. So if we start off with your easy, so your easy run is literally going to be 180 minus your age, and that would give you your heart rate. Might not work for you, so then we're going to work on conversational pace. So you'd work when you're on a run. It's not going to be as easy as if you was walking on the telephone, but it's going to be, going to breathe in slightly, but be able to talk while you're running. And then you're going to make a note of that and see what your heart rate is. And that's going to be what you're going to train at your easy pace. When we're moving more on to tempo and threshold, obviously we're getting a bit quicker. So if, say, for instance, if we work on my 5k mile pace, which is 5:45. So that's what I run each mile, obviously while I'm doing the 5k. And if we was to work on what would my tempo pace be for that, then I would typically add 25 to 30 seconds on that time. So that means that my 5:45 could be 6:10 or could be 6:15. I hope that kind of makes sense. Or if you're doing that in kilometres, you're adding 20 seconds on your kilometre. If you're going to go tempo, then you're going to add 15 seconds onto that time. Or if you want to work in kilometres, you're adding 10 seconds on your kilometre time. So I kind of hope that kind of makes sense. How are we using these formulas in regards to your 5K? So you're going to take the running that I said, you're going to plus, X amount of seconds onto your kilometers or your miles while you're running, and then you're going to make a note of that data. And then that data is going to be how you're going to work out what your heart rate should be. So on my easy, I've worked out that my easy run should be below 135 beats per minute. I've worked out that on my tempo runs that my heart rate should be at 155 beats per minute. And I've worked out that on my threshold runs, it should be around about 168 beats per minute. So if someone's the same age as me, then the actual fitness doesn't come into it. And you're thinking, well, how's that? Well, our heart rates, to say we've got two people that are exactly the same. So myself and another me, it's worrying, wouldn't it? So if we're at different levels of fitness, that if we're both putting in the same effort, so we're both going an easy run, our heart rates would be at 135, regardless of pace. So if I'm running at a faster pace than someone who's running slower than me, we're still putting in the same effort. And that's the same for threshold, tempo. It's all about effort. And that's why I think some people, kind of say, oh, you're not putting in the same effort as me. Oh, you're only running a, 12-minute mile in, or you're running a 10-minute mile in. Well, if your heart rate's the actual same, then you're putting in the same effort. But it's only fitness that will actually, over time, increase that pace. So I hope that kind of makes sense. Right, let's give you those tips that I mentioned to make this thing more accurate. Because sometimes you go out and you're kind of like, I'm on an easy run and it's just spiking for the first couple of miles. So the first one is to actually wear it just for a mile on your warm-up, just so your body obviously adapts to the run, because you're basically just shocking your body. You've been inside, sitting down, and then you're going outside and you're saying to your body, right, I want you to run. And your body's like, oh, So try that first. Also, wear it higher up your wrist, because a lot of people wear it down the wrist bone and it's not as accurate. I don't know why that is. So try wearing it a little bit higher and you would find it's more accurate. Also, if you've ever bought a chest monitor, it tells you to wet the surface before. So just wet just below the watch before you put it on. And then obviously, do it reasonably tight, not too tight, but not so it's kind of moving around. And you will find that these tips will help it to be more accurate. If they don't work, then just get yourself a chest monitor. I got mine for 20 quid off of eBay. Works perfectly. And that's where I got all my data from, just to check to see if it was accurate. And it did match up with my watch. I don't wear it all the time now because I kind of know if I'm, stressing my heart, like when I went out on the run and I mentioned the 10K the other day, without looking at my watch, I knew that it was more effort than it should be, because I was looking at the pace and thinking, I'm having to put a lot of effort in to maintain this pace. And I adjusted the run accordingly. So what you've got to take from this is listening to working out your heart rate. That it might take you a few weeks to work it out, but once you work it out, it's valuable information that you can take forward and it will stay there regardless to your fitness. And then it's listening to those signs. When you're looking at your heart rate, it's to take time off, get more sleep, the factors that I mentioned before, because if you are overtraining, you're fatigued and you're tired, then your body's working harder, which means you're going to injure yourself. So I hope these tips have helped. Please, if you've got any questions, because I think it makes sense when I'm telling you, but we all know, that it doesn't always, does it? Because, what's in my head doesn't necessarily come out here. So anyway, I'm rabbiting. So drop me some comments if you've got any questions, and I'll be pleased to help. Got many more videos coming. Hopefully will be more fun and races soon that we can look forward to. So onwards and upwards, and I'll speak to you soon. Cheers.